Hi guys, I'm Becky. My channel's What Beck Sews. Welcome back if you're a subscriber and welcome if you're new. Today's vlog is all about 5 patterns that are essential for your wardrobe and they are completely free. So stick around if you want to find out more. I hope you've all had plenty of time to sew. Welcome if you're new here. I am going to talk you through 5 patterns, and this vlog is in conjunction with the vlogging tour that's going on as part of the Sew Frugal challenge that is running for its 4th year, I want to say. I will pop in here as I'm talking some of the infographics that just share some of the prizes that's going on and some of the rules around the challenge. But essentially the challenge is to pick a piece of fabric from your stash. I have rummaged through my stash and to pick some free patterns, and there are different vloggers vlogging every day. There's at least 2 most days, literally going to be sharing lots of different patterns for you to go off and hopefully get some inspiration to try out and take part in the challenge. I have gone for 5 essential patterns for your wardrobe because all of the ones that I have picked, I've tried to make sure they are ones that would either be hackable to make them appropriate for the certain season, or they are able to be layered so you can still use them as part of every season. Now I have a top pattern, I have a dress pattern, I have a skirt pattern, I have a pair of trousers, and I also have like a jacket cardigan pattern. So I've kind of gone for something that would be helpful in your wardrobe throughout. Now some of these patterns that I'm going to talk about today, I'm sure that you would have heard of some of them. They've been quite popular in the sewing community, but there might be a couple of new ones in there for you too. So let's get started, and we'll start with the cardigan pattern that I've found. Now this cardigan pattern is a dropped sleeve cardigan. It is a long line cardigan, but you can obviously adapt that to your preference. It's kind of got a little bit of a balloon sleeve going on, but it's certainly cuffed, and I absolutely love this style. And it's called the Up 1016 cardigan by Unfettered pattern. Sorry, I do have some notes below the camera just to remind me. Now this pattern does come in a 34 to 47 inch bust. Now I wouldn't say that is the most size inclusive, but I'd still say it's relatively size inclusive, and it would be quite easier to adapt either smaller or higher depending on your preference. This is great for any kind of knit fabric or ponte fabric. I imagine you could even use a cotton jersey for this, just depending on the sort of look that you wanted to go for, and even a viscose jersey for in the summer where you just want that kind of cool throw on, maybe for those late summer evenings when you're on holiday, for example. But I really like the look of this pattern. It would be suitable for beginners. It looks like a really straightforward and simple sew, and this is one that I really would like to get made up. So I have picked out some of my fabrics that I might be able to use for this particular pattern. My favourite fabric, and probably the one I'm leaning towards most, is this fabric here. Now this is something that's been in my stash for a little while. I think I originally got this from Legend Textiles. Yes, it is white, probably not the best colour to have, but as a throw-on cardigan I think this would be perfect. I think white's a great colour to wear in the winter, but I also think it's an amazing colour to wear in the summer because, as you can see right now, the light reflects from it, so you can keep quite cool still in the summer sun. So this ponte roam is not too thick but not too thin, and the reason that I've gone for it, I'm just trying to find a piece that I can show you, is it's still relatively thin. Maybe you can't see that, but I still feel this is thin enough that this is a good layering piece all year round, and you can slightly see through it. Whether that's coming up on screen, I don't know. So that was the fabric that I had sourced out of my stash. The other fabric that I had, but I've got another pattern in mind that this fabric could also be used for, is this black viscose jersey. Again, look at this, very black and white, and for me who loves colour with most of my makes, but this again is a nice thin jersey, but I thought that this would be perfect as a cardigan because again it would pair with pretty much anything and become an essential piece in my wardrobe. Bearing in mind that I have picked 5 free patterns to become essential pieces in my wardrobe. So I thought that this would be a good idea. I'm going to keep this to one side because I have got that in mind for another pattern too. So that was the first pattern. That is the Up 1016 pattern, cardigan pattern from Unfettered Patterns. I will leave the link below for all of the patterns that I discuss in today's vlog. The next thing I want to talk about is a very popular pattern in the sewing community. I have made this before, which is part of the reason why I'm sharing it. It's always good to share ones that you have made previously. This is the Sabina skirt by the Little Pomegranate. Now this comes in a hip size of 42 up to 63-inch hip, which is up to a size 34 here in the UK. Now that's quite size inclusive, but obviously this pattern is an elasticated waist pattern, so despite those sizing and those measurements, there is always extra fabric there because it's a gathered elasticated waist skirt. So you could theoretically go by the channel of by the elastic that you need to cut to your size. So if you are a size up from that or your size is below from that, you would be able to adapt this pattern to work for you. Now this pattern can come in a couple of ways, and I have made this in a couple of ways. So you've got the original pattern, which has the it comes to just below the knee length, which is the actual main part of the skirt, and then you've got a ruffle along the bottom. Now I made this without the ruffle. I made this in just a normal fabric, and it was just a nice elasticated skirt that I could pair with a t-shirt or something like that. I really like this. I made this out of a leopard print fabric that I got from Rainbow Fabrics. I'll pop the picture in here of the one that I made. But I've also made this skirt in the original way, where it's got the tier on it as well. Now I've made two of these. I've made one in this gorgeous red viscose fabric and another one in a Riccardi lawn, which is still very viscose like, from So Hayley Jane, that I got, I think, the year before, October 2022, and I made this out of that as well. Now I like this because it's got the slanted pockets. I find they're very comfortable. This is so beginner friendly. You haven't got to worry too much about fit because, like I said, that elastic is the only piece that you need to worry about. I had some issues with this skirt initially when I first made it up. I really did have to play with the skirt to get the styling right on it to make it work for me. But it's one of those skirts that I've really learned to love. And in the summer months, I absolutely love it. But you can pair it with a pair of tights in the winter and it still looks fantastic. It looks great with just a plain t-shirt, and you can have that tucked in or you can have that untucked. It looks very good with a cami top as well. It looks great in the winter. You can have like a turtleneck underneath it and you can pair it with a blazer, or you can even have your cami and pair it with a blazer. So you've got lots of different sort of styling options here that can make this weather appropriate. Now personally, I would go for a viscose in this pattern. I feel that this, I'm a fan of drapey looks, especially when it comes to skirts. And I feel that if you were to go for structured fabric like a cotton or a lawn, then just bear that in mind, because it does gather in around the waist, and to have it drape nicely over this area, you want to really have that viscose. Whereas if you had a lawn, the drape, I've just got a lawn here to show you, for a gathered fabric, it really would it would make this part of your body look a lot bigger because it's got drape. Now, it depends on how comfortable you are with your body and what you want to wear, and it is of course down to personal preference, but that would be my recommendation for you, to do this in a viscose fabric. To help you if you are a beginner, then I would also recommend using starch spray. If you are using a drapier fabric, it just helps stabilize the fabric to act more like a cotton, and it's really easy. You just spray it on and pop an iron over it, and then it makes it that little bit easier to work with, and less slippy. I'd recommend that for any viscose fabric. So there's just a tip there to add in to this vlog. So that is the Sabina skirt by the Little Pomegranate. Again, I will leave the link down below for that one. The next pattern that I am really, really keen to make, I forgot to tell you what fabric I had for that. For me, I do want to make one of these, but it needs to be just a plain one to fit in my wardrobe all seasons round. I have this gorgeous black viscose fabric. I got this from pound fabrics last year, and it's kind of got a slub type effect to it. Be great for wearing, and like I said, it's been in my wardrobe, in my fabric stash for ages, so it'd be really nice to use that up. The other fabric that I did have in mind that could be a potential for it, not so much a plain fabric, but this is a relatively recent buy that I got from Birmingham Rag Market, but again, it's still sitting in my stash. Goes with my lipstick today. I love this, but it's got such a good drape to it, and because it's pink and black, I feel like this would go with quite a few different things in my wardrobe, so it's definitely a great option. So that's the Sabina skirt. The next one that I have got in my options here can be a dress or a t-shirt. Now, a t-shirt is a staple in any wardrobe anyway. I quite like this one. Now, I haven't made this one, but I have made other patterns by this pattern company. So I am pretty convinced that it's going to look great, and looking at the hashtag and looking at the other samples on the website, because they're really good and they give you loads of pictures of people that have made it up. I think it's their testers. I definitely think this is a good one to try. Now, this is the Mama Paige t-shirt by Made for Mermaids. So I discovered Made for Mermaids fairly recently. They've got lots of free patterns on their website, not as many garment free patterns, but there are free patterns over there that are garments, but this was just my favourite. The reason I like this t-shirt was for a free pattern, you've got quite a few options. Like I said, you can make this as a dress, you can make this as a tunic. Me personally, I do wear leggings and t-shirts and tunics at home, so this would fit into my work from home wardrobe. But I also think this would fit into the t-shirt's quite a loose fit. It's got a dropped shoulder. You can have it long sleeve. You can have it with a cuff on the end of the sleeve. You could play with colour blocking as well on this. You've got different necklines as to the height that you want to have it. You can also have a curved hem as well on the back, so you can have that high-low hem effect. So it's got lots of options here for a free pattern, and I thought that this was great. Now, depending on what you are making, again, t-shirt dresses are always essential in the summer. You can have t-shirts are an all year rounder anyway to pair with anything, and you can see there's a bit of a capsule wardrobe going on here. I could make a t-shirt to wear with my Sabina skirt, and I could layer that with my cardigan, and when I talk about my next item, I can also use this for my next item. So I think that this is a really good pattern. Now, I picked out a couple of fabrics. Now, I shared with you earlier the black viscose jersey that I've got. Viscose jersey is definitely drapier. Now, this pattern could certainly be made in a cotton jersey. There's no reason why it couldn't, but I lean towards more viscose jersey fabrics in my stash just because I like a looser and drapier fit. That drapier fit, or I just like a drapier feel to my clothes. There you go. So this is the first fabric. Obviously this is a plain black. For me to have plain, it's pretty amazing, but I feel that this would then make this very universal in my wardrobe and could be paired with anything. So if I was to make something with a print, I've also then got this to just to match, and it becomes a staple and an essential in my wardrobe, hence the essentials part. But I couldn't just have plain. I have been through my stash. This particular fabric here is again another viscose jersey. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous leopard print viscose jersey. I love this because it's black and white and grey, and it's quite subtle, but it's a fabric that I really like the way it looks on me. I've made a Billy sweatshirt out of this previously, and it's just a really nice fabric to wear. So this would do really well for this particular pattern, and it's got that gorgeous drape with it, and it just gives a little bit of a va-va-voom to your pattern. But the piece de resistance, I apologise if there are any French people watching me right now because my French is atrocious. Right, so this I got from First for Fabrics last year, and the reason that I bought this was because it was in a So Hailey Jane box, and I fell in love with it. And it is this gorgeous marble effect viscose jersey. It's a really lovely feeling viscose. It's got all of these beautiful colours running through it. And I just love it. I mean, I love purple anyway as a colour, and I like to see that in there, but mixed with the golds and the blues, it works really, really well. And again, I think this would be great, and it's one that I need to use out of my stash. I've got it sitting there and I absolutely adore the fabric, and it needs to be made up. So that is another option out of my stash to make that one up. I think that one would be a relatively quick sew. To be fair, if I was to make that one and the Sabina skirt, I could probably do that across a couple of hours or of one evening when I get home from work. So the bust on this goes from a 30 inch up to a 51 inch, which I think is still quite good and fairly size inclusive. And because it's a stretch fabric that you're making it from, no fitting required. So that is the Mama Paige t-shirt dress by Made for Mermaids. Again, link will be down below. So this pattern might not be for everybody. I know that bias cut is not everybody's cup of tea, but I really love that slip dress look, and it becomes quite a universal piece in your wardrobe. So you can layer it in the winter, and then you can also have in the summer you can wear it just as a slip dress. You've got the option when you're going out to weddings, if you were to make it in a nice satin kind of fabric. A viscose satin would work really well for this. I know some people really struggle what to make with viscose satins, so it becomes a good all-rounder piece that you can then style throughout the year. So when I was looking for a bias cut slip style dress, I came across the Hana dress. It's the Hana bias cut dress from Mood Patterns. And I really like the way that this looks, and it looks fairly simple to sew up. Now, I haven't made this, so I don't know, but I had a quick look, and there are a few out there on Instagram. So it's obviously not an unsuccessful make, and I know sometimes with free patterns there's that kind of, is it going to work, isn't it going to work thing. But I think this would be perfect to add to our wardrobes. So I did have, again, it's a repetitive piece of fabric, which I've chucked over here. The two fabrics that I thought would be ideal for this were both of my fabrics that I pulled out to share with you for the Sabina skirt. So that's this gorgeous pink fabric here. Now this one I really like the look of, because it's got the dark background, and I do love a pattern. It's got the dark background, it's got this gorgeous pink. I think this could work in the winter, but could also work in the summer months. So it'd be great layered with like a black turtleneck underneath it. The Monroe turtleneck's a great free pattern. Yeah, so I think that this would work really, really well, and it would be great cut on the bias. So, and I've got lots of that fabric, so that would potentially work. But again, this viscose fabric here, this black fabric, black being a universal colour, I could really layer this up with some of my pattern tops, and it would look great with that underneath. In the summer, it would be just a perfect little black dress. And for going out, it would be even more perfect, because black is that colour that you could then pile heaps of makeup on your face if you choose to do that. I do when I go out with my big fake lashes, and it would work really nicely, and you would look kind of sexy and feel nice in it. So this comes in a bust up from a 31 inch up to a 59.5 inches and a hip of 34 inches to a 63 inches. So again, it's got quite good size inclusivity to it. And like I said, this is the Mood Patterns. This is the Mood Society patterns, and there are loads on there. If you haven't heard of Mood Society, it can be a bit of a pain finding them and downloading the patterns, but once you've got them, they're brilliant. Not all of them come in an AO format. This particular one does come in an AO format. Some of them just come in a PDF print at home format. But you can look, and then it gives you instructions. Now, sometimes the instructions are great. It does depend on who the designer is. With this particular one, I would say some construction experience with garment making would be helpful, just to help wade your way through it. So that's the Hana bias cut dress by Mood Society. The final pattern that I have on my list here is the, again, another sewing community favourite. Now, this pattern's actually on my Make 9, so I had to include it. But one of the reasons that I did choose this is because it's a good staple for winter, spring and autumn, and it could be hacked for summer. So this is the Peppermint Magazine wide leg trousers. Now, I have a wide leg pants. I have this on my Make 9. I have every intention of getting this made up this year. So this will be one of the things that hopefully I get sewn up in March to enter into Sew Frugal. Now, you can make this from a number of different type of fabrics. So it does recommend, you've got denim on there, you've got twills and drills, you've got corduroy on there. And because I needed to pick a fabric from my stash, I had a good look around at what I have. Now, I've got no drills in my stash at all, but I did find this denim. Now, I don't know if there's enough, but this would certainly work. It would definitely be stable, and it would feel like a pair of jeans, really. There's no stretch or give in this. I got this from my local fabric shop last year, I think. Now, the reason that I said that this could work in the summer was because you could very easily just hack this into a pair of shorts. So again, it makes this pattern quite universal and one that can be worn all year round. The other fabrics that I've got for this, I'm just trying to see if I can find it. I've got some corduroys in my stash. What have I done with it? Here it is. So I don't know if I've got enough of this black because it was kind of like an end of roll. But I think there's about 2.5 meters of this. So this could potentially work as well. And who doesn't need a pair of black corduroy trousers taking us back to the 70s? Now, I do have some brown corduroy downstairs as well. I really would be going for the 70s look because this does have a wide leg to it. The other fabric that I have, which is very Becky style fabric and might be one that potentially wins, because who wouldn't want a pair of pink corduroy wide leg trousers? And I do have, I think I've got 3 meters of this fabric, so this would be perfect for this pattern. Now I need to get this printed on AO because I cannot be asked to print all of the sheets out with this. So that is the Peppermint magazine wide leg trousers. I think it's in the folds that makes that particular pattern. Now, with them, you do have the opportunity to donate, but it is a free pattern, so it still fits within the remit. I downloaded this pattern last year. I've actually got it saved in my files and stash of patterns for me to go back and look at. Now, just whilst we're talking about free patterns, there are obviously 5 essential patterns that I'm picking. I've only made one of those patterns previously. There are other free patterns out there. You have got the Tessuti Patterns Monroe turtleneck, which I have made a couple of times. I would just say as a caveat to make sure you widen the armholes if you do choose to make that. Last year, I also tapped up Sew Magazine, which has a huge amount of free patterns on there. Very, very basic instructions, but I made this gorgeous Ella Louise skirt, which I'll pop an image in here. Just had a zip up side and it's just a gathered skirt with a lovely waistband. That particular pattern came together really well and the instructions were quite easy to read. So it is one that I would also recommend. I also made a pair of culottes. I cannot remember what the name of the culottes are. It begins with a W. The Wonder culottes, that's it. So they were really, really nice, and I made them out of a pink polycotton fabric, which fit in my wardrobe very well. And they've made an appearance a couple of times when I've done my week in my handmade wardrobes, just showing what I wear on a daily basis. So they are getting worn. So they're just a few other patterns to bear in mind and places that you can go looking for free patterns if you are interested. I hope that this vlog has been helpful to you, and I would love to know what you're making up for So Frugal. So please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you're going to make, and if any of those patterns that I have selected are either new to you or ones that you're inspired to go off and make yourself. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more. Don't forget there are other vloggers out there that have also put their vlogs up. So we had Adele from Sofa Serenity put hers up yesterday, and Knots and Needles Craft. Today I'm sharing with the lovely Tamlin from Sewn on the Time. And tomorrow we've got the Stitchy Wife and Heartland knits and sews as well. So don't forget to go and see all of them. I will try and link all of their channels down below for you. Take care, happy sewing, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye.